The year is 2007 and young Vincent is just discovering cars for the first time. He likes fast cars. He starts exploring fast cars and he likes North American fast cars. There's one particular fast car that he is fascinated by. It's yellow. He doesn't like yellow cars. However, this yellow car is really cool. Now this car that young Vincent was fascinated by has 2 doors, is made out of fiberglass, has a big V8 up front, and a 6-speed manual transmission. So what is this fast car, you ask? It's the C6 Corvette, 2005 to 2013. C6 Corvette, 6 standing for 6th generation Corvette, was born from the 5th generation Corvette. So the 6th generation Corvette is freaking awesome. Okay, listen guys. So it was born out of the 5th generation Corvette, and the 5th generation Corvette did a lot of things well. For instance, it was a big V8 up front and it had the transmission mounted in back, and that gave it good weight distribution so that it could handle well. So the C4 Corvette was the first Corvette that saw significant aerodynamic improvements over the 3rd generation Corvette. About 24% improvement. It had a drag coefficient of 0.34. Now the C5 and the C6 had the same drag coefficient, even less, 0.29 drag coefficient. Fantastic. Now we're talking higher speeds. Now regarding the engine, the C5 Corvette did have a good engine, the LS1. However, the C6 Corvette learned its mistakes and saw, you know what, the LS1 could be improved. Enter the LS2. LS2 was new for the C6 Corvette in 2005. Out was the LS1 that produced 350 horsepower, in the LS2 that produced 400 horsepower and 400 pound-foot of torque. The C6 Corvette was the first Corvette since 1962 to not have pop-up headlights. Now some people were probably disappointed with that. A lot of guys, especially today, are into those pop-up headlights. But you got to remember, put yourself back in 2005. No pop-up headlights. Wow, this is new. This is revolutionary. This is futuristic. People love that. They were tired of the pop-up headlights by 2005. So, no pop-up headlights made the car look cooler. Now the C5 Corvette did the manual transmission well. 6-speed manual transmission. The C6 Corvette did the same. However, the automatic remained the same. 4-speed automatic for 2005. It wasn't until 2006 that they got rid of that 4-speed automatic transmission and put a proper 6-speed automatic transmission. Doesn't compare to, you know, the C8 Corvettes, the new Corvettes, automatic dual clutch transmission that shifts like crazy fast. But hey, it was a step in the right direction and they were thinking GM. Now on the topic of the 2006 Corvette, what was new other than the transmission update for 2006 Corvette? Guys, you gotta guess this. And if you don't guess the Z06 Corvette introduction again, then I don't know what you guys are doing. Z06 Corvette is legendary. And I'll tell you why. LS7. LS7 was legendary. Reasons. It was a 7-liter V8 that produced 505 horsepower naturally aspirated. So no turbos, no superchargers, nothing. It also had a dry sump oil pump, which meant that doesn't matter how many G's you're pulling in the corners, it's still going to be lubricated. It also redlined to 7,000 RPMs. Old Corvettes, you're talking 6,000 RPMs. That extra 1,000 RPMs means a lot. You're going to just redline it out. You're going to keep going. And you know what? 7 grand is a lot, especially for an LS engine. They start screaming. That's what you want. Hey, part of the experience is not just going fast, it's about hearing it going fast. And I believe that LS engines are sonorous. They sound great. They hit a tone that's just awesome. and especially an LS7. Oh my God, it's like lions and God talking to you. It's wild. Equal length exhaust does the trick too. Those bald eagles from that engine are tamed by bigger tires, bigger brakes. Now you have 6-piston brakes up front, bigger suspension, bigger sway bars. You're talking, this is now a well-equipped track car. Now 2007, nothing really changed for Corvette. It wasn't until 2008 that the C6 Corvette saw the LS3 get put in as its base engine. What? So the LS3 puts out 430 horsepower and 424 pounds-foot of torque. Super reliable engine. So this means that it's faster than the outgoing LS2, and it's super reliable, which means that you can just pound that transmission and that engine all day, and guess what? It's gonna keep going. And a lot of guys that do resto mods, that want to increase power, will put an LS3 in their car, and the reason being is, well, it's good performance. They're not that big of an engine. You got to remember, it's still a small block Chevy. A small block Chevy, exactly how it is described, is small. It's not a big engine physically. Also, it makes a lot of power. So, and it's aluminum, so it's light, it's not physically big, and it makes a lot of power. What more can you ask for? Now that LS3, wow, okay. What can Corvette do to top now the introduction of a Z06 Corvette with an LS7 putting out 505 horsepower, naturally aspirated, redlining to 7,000 RPMs, and then making a base model with an LS3 putting out 430 horsepower. This is more than the competition for the money. Wow, what more can GM do? Let's fast forward. 2009. What's going on? Hey guys, we're Chevrolet. Guess what? We're pulling out a little trick out of our sleeve. The ZR1. Okay, I can't describe the ZR1 better than saying that it's just a bald eagle machine producing 638 horsepower, supercharged LS9 V8. Like, it has magnetic ride control, which means that it adjusts the suspension so fast that it could take bumps and corners like it's nothing. It has now carbon ceramic brakes, which means brake fade no more. Big 6-piston brakes up front. Oh my goodness, this is a wild car. The ZR1 is said to be the easiest car to hit 200 miles per hour in at the time. Guys, they started comparing the ZR1, which is $130,000 when it came out, I would say $120,000, which is an expensive car, but compared to, $400,000, $500,000 Lamborghinis, it's not that expensive. It was giving Lamborghinis a run for its money that costed 4 or 5 times more than the Corvette. This thing was assembled in Bowling Green, Kentucky by red, white, and blue Americans. It is insane. Corvette was on the ball. The C6 ZR1 Corvette is one awesome car, and it's hard to come by too. If you have one, keep it, but drive it. Personally, I want to see these cars on the road. I'm a guy that, if you have a car, don't store it in the garage, drive it. Oh my goodness, this bald eagle, fire-breathing, God-sent machine needs to see the light of day and scorch the earth behind it. So 2010 comes along. Unfortunately, you can't top the ZR1 that was introduced in 2009. But GM knew that people liked the performance that the Z06 had, but didn't want to spend the money of a Z06. So what did you get? The Grand Sport. The Grand Sport had Z06 big brakes, Z06 big tires, Z06 suspension. However, it had the very capable LS3, which was cheaper than the LS7. So 2011, nothing changed. 2012, the Centennial Corvette. Now, my personal opinion, I think the Centennial Corvette looks amazing. You got black rims, matte black rims, in fact, not shiny, flat black. What does that remind me of? The Batmobile. Okay, so what else did you get? You got cool logos of Centennial. And you know what? This was one awesome car. When you see a Centennial Corvette, you're like, wow, that is something different. It almost looks like some guy took a Corvette and, you know, slightly tweaked it and personalized it for themselves. But it wasn't. It was a Corvette from the factory. Unfortunately, boys and girls, 2013 marked the end for the C6 Corvette. However, Chevrolet was thinking. So for the 2013 year, Chevrolet introduced the 427 convertible collector edition, which was basically a Z06 LS7 in a convertible. What? Think about this. You're driving a crazy Z06, 505 horsepower. These cars didn't weigh much. A Z06 weighed about 3,200 pounds. A base model Corvette weighed about, 3,300 pounds. So a convertible would weigh about the same, 3,300 pounds, maybe a little more, because you got more components in a convertible. But that's light for a 505 horsepower car. Just imagine this. You're driving down the highway. You got a passenger in the seat. You got the top down. And you're like, let's shift down to second. Let's see how far second goes in a convertible Z06 Corvette. What the heck? This thing is insane. You will scare the crap out of your passenger. I can guarantee you it, because this is one wild and fast car. So boys and girls, that concludes the C6 Corvette, and I'm super passionate about this car. You can get a base model C6 Corvette for a fairly good price, and this is one heck of a car. Now you gotta remember, it wasn't flawless. So to connect the engine with the transmission, there was a torque tube. Main issue with the torque tubes are the bearings and the couplers go. And you got to give it to a specific shop that can deal with Corvettes and that know how to press in these bearings in the torque tube, or what ends up happening is if they're not pressed in correctly, it just wears out the coupler and then you're just back at square one. So get it done correctly. Another thing is sometimes, these transmissions go and you got to pay careful attention to them, service them. However, parts are very, very readily available. But other than that, very reliable car. You can work on them yourselves if you know what you're doing. A small block V8 is so simple. One cam, one timing chain, that's it. None of this 3-4 timing chains. No, super simple, super reliable. Less parts, more reliable. Remember that, boys and girls. And that's why the C6 Corvette is one amazing car. And send it all day, bald eagles. This was a gift from God, the C6 Corvette. And it introduced the amazing C7 Corvette that everyone knows and loves today. So the C6 Corvette is one amazing car. Wow. You know what, boys and girls? If you enjoyed this video, send a like. Give me a follow. I'm making more videos like this. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye all.